Oh, hi there. Welcome to another episode of Learning Second Trumpet Excerpts. My name is Anthony Prisk, and I play second trumpet in the Philadelphia Orchestra. And I'm right here on stage in the Kimmel Center. I also teach at the Peabody Institute and Temple University. Come say hello.
Hi, everyone. It's been a great fall playing for live audiences in the Kimmel Center again, and also teaching in person at Peabody and Temple. I thought you might get a kick out of me warming up for one of the concerts that we did recently, which included the topic for episode 8 of Learning Second Trumpet Excerpts, Berlioz's Roman Carnival Overture. We're going to take a deeper look at the second cornet part, which I think has some tricky fingering and some tricky tonguing things in it that I'll be happy to give you tools to use in your preparation of this excerpt. Let's get to work on Berlioz's Roman Carnival Overture. Hector Berlioz is a very well-known French Romantic composer who lived from 1803 to 1869. He was a prolific composer and conductor and wrote very well-known works like Symphonie Fantastique, Harold in Italy, Les Troyens, and many others. The Roman Carnival Overture, also very well known, was originally written to be purposed as the prelude to the second act of his fairly unsuccessful opera Benvenuto Cellini. This opera was premiered in 1838 and not very well received. So Berlioz repurposed the music from the prelude to the second act as a standalone orchestral work called the Roman Carnival Overture. For this orchestral showpiece, Berlioz uses themes from the failed opera to showcase members of the orchestra. For instance, the English horn solo was originally an aria, and the saltarello dance that contains most of the cornet excerpts comes from a party in the piazza. This piece was orchestrated for 2 trumpets and 2 cornets. We're going to take a look at the second cornet part, but both the first and second cornet parts have very challenging material in them. In the Philadelphia Orchestra, we choose to use 2 trumpets and 2 C cornets. This is the Yamaha 9435 C cornet that was gifted to us by Brad Voigt and his brother as a donation to the orchestra. Trumpet players for years will get to enjoy these instruments. I will now talk to you about how I prepare playing this instrument in the orchestra and the excerpts from the second cornet part to the Roman Carnival Overture. When working with any new or unfamiliar instrument, I like to use vocalise or flow study exercises to find a better pitch center and tone on the instrument. I find using a drone or a tuner can help me to bend the notes into place and find that better center. I'm looking for the most resonance and ease and efficiency on the instrument. I'll demonstrate a few of those things for you by using the Arnold Jacobs flow study pattern and some scales. I will also use a drone and a tuner to help me manipulate the pitch in the right direction. The first excerpt we're going to look at from Roman Carnival is from 3 to 4. This is the accompaniment of that aria theme that Berlioz used from his opera. Of course, we need to play this with steady time, precise rhythm, clear articulation, and a very soft dynamic. But I want to talk to you about playing it in one breath with a passive reduction of your airstream. Passive reduction of the air is when you take a big breath in and you fill your lungs with air, and like a balloon, the air wants to come out. And when you release that air, you're going to use the aperture of your embouchure as a regulator for letting that air out, rather than pushing the air out. You filled this big balloon with air, and now the balloon wants to empty. If you think about your lungs that way, it'll do a lot more work for you. This is the passive reduction of air. Let's try this without the trumpet first. Let's take a big breath, filling up from the bottom up, and then release the air, close the aperture, and regulate the amount of air that comes out. The wider the aperture, the quicker the air will come out. Playing your long tones this way will keep you nice and relaxed. It'll keep a steadier tone. It'll be more efficient, making a lot more sound with a lot less effort. This is the efficiency in the trumpet playing that we need to play this excerpt in one breath. To practice the passive reduction of air on the cornet, I like to use the sax 5-5-20 long tone exercise that we've talked about in past videos. I'll demonstrate a couple of those for you on the cornet. But keep in mind that you can be doing this on any instrument. I do these almost like meditation, trying to release the tension, find clarity in my sound, and find efficiency, or the most sound with the least amount of work. Here's a couple of examples of me playing this on cornet in A. One of the reasons why I started making these videos for you was because I actually like to do this kind of practice in my studio. In order for me to maintain my skills as an ensemble trumpet player, I sometimes record the other section parts and then play my part with those parts. This helps my skills of matching pitch, matching articulation, matching dynamics, matching note length, and all that. So, why don't you try that with this excerpt? I like to record parts that are the most basic, like the trumpet parts for this excerpt. They just continuously play an A. And so I like to use a drone to record those, to make sure my pitch is maintained. And then I also use a metronome and play on the same side of the beat the whole time. This way I have a steady groove and I have a good fundamental pitch to match. Then I like to add the cornet parts, as they have a little bit more complicated line. Make sure you count yourself off when recording these excerpts so that you can feel the time every time. Record it all together and see how you did. The second excerpt we're going to look at from a Roman Carnival is probably the most commonly asked excerpt in auditions. It's from the Saltarello section of the piece, and it has a dance-like quality and presents some challenges such as tricky fingerings, tricky transposition, and some multiple tonguing. So let's first talk about the multiple tonguing. Let's take it down to the basics. To multiple tongue well, we have to have a good single tongue. And we also have to match that single tongue quality with our K tongue. So I like to practice exercises that take me back and forth between the two with the metronome, with the tuner, making sure that I'm not changing the intonation or the sound when going from the T to the K. So here's a couple examples of me trying that. Then K tongue. Single tongue. And K tongue. Now alternate. When practicing triple tonguing, I often go back between the two different patterns of TTK and TKT. This helps me to be more flexible depending on the piece I need the triple tonguing for. Here's an example of the different tonguing patterns I like to use for this piece. Before 13, and then after 13, ka-ta-ka-ta-ta-ka-ta-ta-ta. And then at 19, I like to use ta-ka-ta-ta-ka-ta-ta-ka-ta-ta-ka-ta-ta-ka-ta-ta-ka-ta-ta-ka-ta. The thing to remember about multiple tonguing is it doesn't matter what pattern you use as long as you play the correct rhythm with clarity and precision. This excerpt can wreak havoc on that nasty third finger, especially on C cornet. So I like to use Clark Technical Studies and the Charlie Etude number 14 and a couple of different Chigwitz Flow Study etudes to work that nasty third finger and keep kind of tabs on the speed and accuracy of that finger. I also like to change Clark number 3 from major to minor because it gives some nasty finger combinations that are a little bit more challenging and maybe twist your brain a little bit. In the third excerpt, the change of register and playing in octaves with the first cornet can be a little bit more challenging, and especially in an audition. One of the things I like to do is to play this section very legato, connecting all the notes and connecting the sound and tone between the registers. Then I add a legato tongue, and then I start adding more space and more articulation as I feel more comfortable with the sound I'm making. This is my approach to a lot of low register playing, and it helps me to find that mid to higher register sound in my low register. Before joining the Philadelphia Orchestra in 2013, I was a member of the Houston Symphony for 11 seasons, during which time I was honored to play in the brass section with the principal tubist Dave Kirk. Dave is a shining example of how to play low and brilliant and supportive at the bottom of the brass section. He was also a great colleague and friend. Dave gave me great advice all the time, and I cherished it every time he gave it. One time I actually played this excerpt for him, and he recommended that I work on the first cornet part and get the brilliance in my tone and the intonation that I want, and then immediately match that in the second cornet part and try to get the brilliance and intonation and clarity in the low register just like I played an octave higher. This was great advice, Dave, and I've cherished it and used it ever since. Even though we can talk about so much more, I think that about does it for the tutorial portion of this video. I'd like to now play the excerpts for you, and then also play them in context with the rest of the trumpet section so you can see how they fit in. Thanks again for watching another episode of Learning Second Trumpet Excerpts. I hope you found this tutorial on Berlioz's Roman Carnival Overture very helpful in your preparation for an audition or performance. I enjoy making these videos for you, so please subscribe to my channel and like this video so I can bring you more content. Good luck, and I'll see you next time.